Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when the weight feels unbearable. When you wake up and it feels like the world is pressing down on your chest. When your dreams feel distant and your heart feels shattered. When you've given everything and still come up short. That's when life hurts. But hear me right now. Pain is not the end, it's the beginning. Pain is the signal. It's life screaming at you. There's more for you. Wake up, rise. I don't care if you're broke. I don't care if they left you. I don't care if the world said you're not enough. Because guess what? You're still breathing. And as long as you are breathing, you are not finished. You see, most people try to run from pain, numb it, distract from it, avoid it. But the truth is, your pain is your power if you choose to face it. That moment you broke down on the bathroom floor, that night you sat in silence wondering if you mattered, that loss that ripped your soul wide open, those moments didn't come to destroy you, they came to awaken you. Because life doesn't happen to you, life happens for you. When life hurts, it's forcing you to dig deeper, to discover what you're really made of, to decide not just who you've been, but who you're going to become. You don't get stronger by lifting feathers. You build strength by facing resistance. And emotional strength, it's no different. So if you're in pain right now, good. That means the old version of you is dying, and a stronger, wiser, unstoppable version is ready to be born. But you've got to decide, will this break you or will this build you? Will you live in your story, I'm broken, I'm tired, I've failed? Or will you stand up and say, that may be who I was, but it's not who I am now. Right now, this is the moment that defines you. This is the moment that defines you. Not the pain, not the setback, not the betrayal. What defines you is what you do from here. So stand the hell up, dig into your spirit, scream if you have to, cry if you must, but don't you dare stay down. Life hurts, yes, but you are stronger than the hurt. You were built for this. And when you walk through the fire, not around it, you don't come out the same. You come out forged. This isn't the end of your story. It's the chapter where everything changes. So when life hurts, don't run, don't hide, rise. Most people see pain as the final signal. They believe pain means failure or that it means life has taken something from them. But the truth is, pain isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of a deeper chapter. It's the place where real transformation begins. When you're hurt, when you're down, when everything in your life feels like it's been pulled out from under you, that's not where the story stops. That's where the truth starts to reveal itself. Pain forces you to face the parts of yourself you've avoided. It breaks through the noise and exposes what's real. You can't pretend anymore when you're in pain. You can't put on the fake smile. You can't keep telling the world you're fine. When life hurts, the masks fall off. That's not weakness. That's the beginning of authenticity. Pain invites honesty. It strips away what doesn't matter so you can finally see what does. You learn who you are without the titles, the achievements, the applause, and that's where strength begins to grow. When everything is going well, we rarely stop to ask the hard questions. We don't evaluate our patterns, our decisions, our direction. But when pain strikes, we're forced to pause, to reflect, to question everything. That discomfort pushes you out of autopilot. It demands your attention. And that is the moment when you get to choose. Keep doing what's easy or step into what's necessary. That's where growth lives. In the discomfort, in the doubt, in the stretching of your identity. Think about a seed. Before it becomes something new, it has to be buried in darkness. It has to break open. It has to go through pressure and chaos. But that breaking is not the end. It's the beginning of growth. It's the process of transformation. Pain works the same way. The breaking feels like death, but it's really a birth. It's uncomfortable, messy, uncertain, but it's creating space for something new to take shape. Not just a better version of your life, but a deeper version of you. You don't find your power in the easy seasons. You don't develop courage when you're comfortable. You don't discover who you really are when everything is smooth. You discover it when life brings you to your knees and you decide to stand back up anyway. You find it when you're hurting and you keep moving forward. You realize your resilience not in the absence of pain, but in your response to it. And that moment, that decision to not quit, to keep breathing, to keep showing up, that's the beginning of transformation. Pain exposes what you value. It reveals what you've clung to. It shows you where you've settled. And if you're willing to feel it, not escape it, not bury it, but really feel it, then it becomes a guide. It starts pointing you toward truth, toward change, toward purpose. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid pain, when in fact, it's often the very thing that leads them to who they were meant to be. We're conditioned to believe that pain is punishment, that it's something bad. But pain isn't the enemy, it's a messenger. And what it's saying is, it's time. Time to let go. Time to evolve. Time to shift directions. Time to stop pretending. Time to face what you've ignored. It's not there to destroy you, it's there to wake you up. The pain is not happening to end your path. It's showing up to start a new one. In pain, your soul has a chance to speak louder than your fears. You're more raw, more vulnerable, more open. That's the space where real courage shows up. When you stop resisting the pain, when you stop making it wrong, you can begin to listen. And when you listen, you start to hear what truly matters. You remember your values. You remember your fight. You remember that life isn't just about comfort or convenience. It's about meaning. It's about impact. It's about becoming the person you were created to be, not just the person the world expects you to be. And that journey begins in pain. The breakdown precedes the breakthrough. The fall creates the space for the rise. The moment everything crumbles is the same moment your foundation gets rebuilt, stronger than ever. But it doesn't start with ease. It doesn't begin with clarity or peace. It begins with pain. The kind that rattles your soul, the kind that makes you question everything. But it's through that pain that you get a choice, and that choice begins a whole new chapter. It doesn't feel like it when you're in it. It feels like weakness, like defeat, like something is being taken from you. But that's the illusion. Because pain, when faced fully, becomes the very source of your strength. The power is not in avoiding the pain. The power comes when you meet it head on, when you feel it fully, and when you choose to use it instead of letting it use you. There's something sacred about the way pain transforms you. There's something sacred about the way pain transforms you. It breaks you open. It digs into the core of your being and forces you to confront who you really are underneath the surface. That kind of confrontation doesn't happen in comfort. It doesn't happen when life is smooth or predictable. It happens in the chaos. It happens when your world is turned upside down and everything feels uncertain. That's where your real self gets exposed, and that's where power is born. Most people run from pain. They numb it, bury it, hide it under distractions, success, relationships, or noise. But what you avoid controls you. What you suppress grows in the dark. True power comes when you stop running. When you stop pretending you're okay. When you face your pain with open eyes and say, I'm still here. That moment when you acknowledge your suffering but refuse to be defined by it. That's strength. Every wound holds wisdom. Every scar tells a story. The pain you've lived through carries lessons that comfort never could. The betrayal taught you to trust yourself. The loss reminded you to cherish the present. The failure showed you resilience you didn't know you had. That's power. Power isn't just standing tall when things are going your way. It's standing back up when everything inside you is screaming to give up. The truth is, pain stretches your capacity. It expands your soul. It deepens your empathy, sharpens your instincts, and fuels your hunger to grow. You become more when you've been through more. You become more grounded, more real, more connected to others because you've felt something raw. And once you've been in that space, you see the world differently. You stop judging people by their image and start seeing them through their humanity. That's power too. The power of compassion, the power of presence, the power of understanding. Pain gives you leverage. It gives you the drive to change. It wakes you up in ways nothing else can. When you're comfortable, it's easy to settle. It's easy to go through the motions and call it a life. But when you're hurting, you either stay stuck or you rise. And that decision, that turning point, becomes fuel. It becomes the fire that ignites your next level. That's why your pain is your power. It doesn't weaken you, it wakes you up to your own potential. Sometimes the very thing that feels like it's breaking you is actually building you. You just don't recognize it in the moment. Because growth is disguised as pain. Transformation is wrapped in discomfort. And power is born in the places you thought would destroy you. But when you come through it, even if you're crawling, even if you're scarred, you're stronger. Not because life got easier, but because you got wiser. You got more focused. You got more intentional about who you are and what you want. Power doesn't come from pretending the pain doesn't exist. It comes from turning toward it and deciding to use it, to learn from it, to let it reshape you. You start to realize that nothing was wasted, that even your darkest nights taught you how to shine, that even your lowest moments gave you perspective that can never be taken away. You didn't just survive it, you earned something in it. A kind of strength that can't be taught in a book, a kind of power that only comes from the fire. This is the edge where people either stay victims or become victors. It's not about what happened, it's about what you do with what happened. Pain isn't your identity, it's your invitation. Your invitation to rise, to evolve, to lead, to love harder, to serve deeper. To become someone who's no longer afraid of the storms because they've already walked through one. That kind of power doesn't shout, it doesn't brag, it radiates quietly, unshakably, authentically. And it was born the moment you decided that your pain wasn't going to break you. It was going to build you. That single shift in perspective changes everything. It changes the way you process pain, the way you view failure, the way you respond to setbacks. Because when you believe life is happening to you, you feel like a victim. You feel powerless, stuck, and at the mercy of forces outside your control. But the moment you choose to believe life is happening for you, you take back your power. You start to see every experience as a lesson, every obstacle as a teacher, and every moment, even the hardest ones, as part of your evolution. It's easy to believe life is against you when things fall apart, when the person you loved walked away, when you lost your job, when someone betrayed your trust, when your plans crumbled. In those moments, it feels personal. It feels unfair. You start asking, why me? But the better question is, what is this here to teach me? Because everything that shows up in your life, especially the hard things, holds a lesson if you're willing to look for it. And that lesson is the seed of growth. Life isn't punishing you, it's preparing you. Every delay, every detour, every disappointment has the potential to lead you to something greater if you're open. If you're willing to lean into the pain instead of running from it. If you stop resisting the reality of the moment and start asking, how can I grow through this? That shift changes the way you move through life. You stop fearing the challenges and start using them. You stop blaming the world and start building yourself. You weren't meant to go through life without being tested. You were meant to be stretched, challenged, forged in the fire. Not because you're not good enough now, but because life wants to show you how much is inside of you. There's strength, courage, wisdom, and grit that only reveals itself when you're pushed beyond your limits. When everything in you wants to quit and you don't, that's when you meet the deeper parts of yourself. That's when you realize the situation didn't come to destroy you, it came to reveal you. Even the pain that seems senseless, even the heartbreak that leaves no explanation, even the loss that seems unbearable. Those experiences are not random. They can shape you in ways comfort never could. They force you to ask deeper questions. They create space for something new to grow. It's not always immediate. It's not always clear. But there's always something to learn, always something to build from, always a way to rise. When you stop seeing life as an enemy and start seeing it as a partner in your growth, everything changes. This isn't about being naive or ignoring reality. It's about choosing a mindset that empowers you rather than paralyzes you. Because the truth is, life will throw things at you that you didn't ask for. You'll get blindsided. You'll get knocked down. But you still have a choice. You always have a choice. You can choose to let the moment define you, or you can choose to define the moment. You can choose to stay bitter, or you can choose to get better. That's not just motivational talk, that's real power. The power of ownership, the power of perspective. You can't always control what happens, but you can always control the meaning you attach to it. That meaning shapes your reality. That meaning either limits you or liberates you. The moment you decide that life is happening for you, you stop wasting energy on what you can't change, and you start investing energy into what you can change. That's when life stops feeling random and starts feeling purposeful. That's when you stop surviving and start creating. Sometimes what you thought was the worst thing that could happen to you ends up becoming the thing that saves you. That breakup that devastated you made room for self-discovery. That rejection pushed you toward a new path. That failure taught you resilience. That loss awakened your gratitude. You don't see it in the moment. But with time, if you keep showing up, if you keep learning, if you keep growing, you start to realize it all had a purpose. Maybe not the one you expected, but one that shaped you in ways you couldn't have imagined. This mindset is not about pretending everything is good. It's about trusting that everything can be used for good. Even the hard stuff. Especially the hard stuff. Life doesn't waste experiences. And when you start looking at your life through the lens of growth instead of judgment, pain becomes progress and struggle becomes strength. Life isn't punishing you or ignoring you. It's inviting you to rise. Not yesterday, not 10 years ago, not the trauma, not the failure, not the time they told you that you wouldn't make it. Right now, this moment is the moment that determines your future. Because no matter what happened before, no matter how much pain, disappointment, or chaos you've faced, it's what you decide to do now that matters. Most people carry their past like a backpack full of bricks, dragging it into every new chapter. But your past is not your identity. It's your experience, your training, your raw material. What you choose to build from it is up to you. You get to decide who you become. That power doesn't belong to your past. It doesn't belong to your pain. It belongs to your decision. The one you make right now. In this very moment, you have the ability to interrupt the pattern, to stop the spiral, to rewrite the narrative. But you must choose. You must own it. You must stop waiting for the perfect conditions and start realizing the perfect moment is always now. Life doesn't ask for your permission to get hard. It doesn't warn you before it knocks you down. But it does offer you this, a choice every single day to rise. And when you're in pain, when you're in doubt, when the pressure is mounting, that's when the decision matters most. Because it's easy to make great choices when things are going your way. It's easy to feel strong when life is smooth. But real growth happens when you're in the storm and you decide to move anyway. Real strength is built in the moments when quitting feels easier than continuing, but you keep showing up. Your character isn't shaped when you win, it's shaped when you lose and choose to rise again. It's shaped when everything is uncertain and you choose courage over comfort. It's shaped when you're exhausted, but you choose discipline anyway. That's the kind of decision that builds a future, not a fantasy, not a highlight reel, a real, unshakable life rooted in resilience and ownership. And it starts with a decision you make in this moment. There will always be a reason to delay, to wait, to doubt yourself. There will always be something in the way: fear, fatigue, opinion, expectation. But if you're waiting for the fear to disappear before you move, you'll be stuck forever. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's moving forward in spite of it. And that courage lives in this moment. The moment where everything inside you says not today, and you respond with yes today, yes now. What you decide now becomes your momentum. Every choice stacks. Every action compounds. One decision to rise becomes 10. One choice to speak truth becomes a habit. One moment of self-respect becomes a new standard. It doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. You don't have to have it all figured out to take the next right step. You just have to take it. The danger is in waiting for life to feel easier before you commit. The trap is believing that one day you'll magically become the person you want to be without making the hard choices now. That day never comes. The transformation you're looking for doesn't show up with time, it shows up with action. It shows up when you stop negotiating with your potential and start demanding something greater from yourself. And that demand begins in a single decision: the decision to be more, to grow deeper, to stop settling for the old story. Right now is not just another tick on the clock, it's an opportunity to pivot, to realign, to take the pain and turn it into purpose, to take the disappointment and turn it into drive. You get to choose what this moment means. You can make it another excuse, another reason to shrink, another day wasted in hesitation, or you can make it the moment where everything changed. The moment where your standards elevated, the moment where your boundaries solidified, the moment where you stopped living in the shadow of your past and stepped fully into the creation of your future. Every future version of you is shaped by what you do now, not what you hope for, not what you dream about, what you do. Action shapes identity. Commitment builds character. And when you choose to rise in this moment, when you decide that your circumstances won't control you, that your emotions won't define you, that your fear won't cage you, you begin to build the person you were meant to be. The decision you make now is not small. It's not trivial. It's the spark that ignites a chain reaction. It's the moment that creates your momentum. There will be moments when it feels like the weight is too much, when the pain cuts too deep, when everything inside you screams to give up. You'll feel like you've been brought to your knees by life, like you've lost control, like you're drowning in circumstances you never asked for. And in that moment, you will be tempted to stay down, to retreat, to close off. But there is a deeper part of you, a part that pain cannot break, a part that has been waiting for this exact moment to wake up. That part is the part that rises. You don't rise because it's easy. You don't rise because you feel strong. You rise because deep down you know that surrendering to the pain isn't the answer. You rise because something inside of you refuses to let this be the end. That rise might be messy. It might be slow. It might be one breath, one step, one decision at a time. But every time you choose to move instead of stay stuck, you're rewriting your story. Pain isn't weakness, it's a signal. It's calling you to something more. Not just more strength, but more presence, more honesty, more growth. When life hurts, it's not just hurting you, it's shaping you. It's breaking down the parts of you that can't come with you to the next level. It's carving away the ego, the excuses, the illusions. And when all of that is gone, what's left is something real. Something unshakable, something worthy of the life you're here to live. You're not meant to rise untouched. You're meant to rise with scars, with lessons, with a new fire in your eyes. Pain makes you real. It strips away the performance and demands authenticity. It tests every belief you claim to have. You find out who you are not when everything is going right, but when everything is falling apart. When you rise in the middle of the storm, you realize that the storm never had the power to define you. It only revealed what was already within you. Rising doesn't mean the pain disappears. It means you refuse to let the pain control you. It means you feel it, you acknowledge it, but you don't become it. It means you carry it forward and use it as fuel. Every setback becomes a setup for strength. Every tear becomes a reminder of your capacity to feel, to love, to fight for something better. You rise not because you're invincible, but because you're committed. Committed to becoming who you were always meant to be. Not the version that plays it safe, but the version that steps into the fire and walks out transformed. There will always be reasons to stay down. The voices of doubt, the opinions of others, the fear of failing again. But those voices don't build legacies. They don't shape destinies. The people who rise in life are the ones who get back up when it makes no sense, when no one is watching, when nothing around them has changed. They rise because they know that staying down costs more than trying again. It costs peace. It costs purpose. It costs becoming. There's no perfect way to rise. There's only the decision. The decision to refuse to let the pain win. The decision to use the breakdown as a doorway to the breakthrough. The decision to stand up with shaky legs and a cracked voice and say, I'm not done. That decision is power. That decision is what creates transformation. Not waiting for the pain to end, but moving through it with purpose. Sometimes rising means asking for help. Sometimes it means walking away. Sometimes it means starting over. Sometimes it means forgiving yourself. But in every case, rising means choosing not to stay stuck in what happened and instead choosing what happens next. You are not what hurt you. You are what you decide to do now. And that decision to rise again and again and again is the most powerful decision you will ever make. Pain tries to convince you that you've lost your power. But every time you rise, you take it back. Every time you rise, you get stronger. Every time you rise, you remind yourself that you are still here. And as long as you're still here, there's still purpose. There's still time. There's still something greater waiting on the other side of this pain. And that future is built not in your comfort, but in your comeback.